And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we have got a fantastic show for you today, so you don't want to miss any part of it. And you know what? On today's show, we're going to talk about what's in the news. New legislation, the IRS loses, and we'll continue our news segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. On today's special segment, well, I'm going to be talking about special tax breaks for people with disabilities. And I'm also going to answer your emails today. And then right after that, we'll have our own Dr. Wireless here, Joel Salzman. He'll be talking about wireless technology and what's new for wireless technology and those kinds of things that are going on. But right now, I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 84 degrees on its way to 55 degrees, and that'll be pleasant and that'll be nice. And then later on in the show, we'll kind of give you a weather forecast or what's going on our globally syndicated network, and you'll kind of get a kick out of what's going on. Right now, though, I want to do the encapsulated news. We've abbreviated it so we can hit the top 10 items for you to know about, and that way you can have conversations with your friends, your neighbors, your peers, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news today. And right up the top, these are the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and most likely tomorrow, too. And right at the top, GOP gets fresh political ammunition. Trump and anxious Republicans across the nation seize on spiking health care costs in the final day's effort to spark an election momentum. You know, if you're not sure what that is, looks like Obamacare is going to go up in double digits, anywhere from 15 to 25% for their premiums. And Paul Ryan to the Pentagon, cease and desist. The House Speaker calls on the military to immediately suspend efforts to recover enlistment bonuses paid to thousands of soldiers in California who signed up to serve in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then, judge approves $15 billion settlement with Volkswagen. It's the largest auto scandal agreement in U.S. history. Owners can choose between selling their cars back or having them repaired so they don't spew excess pollution. And how the campaign against Islamic State group IS is unfolding? Well, even as it provides support for Iraq's battle to retake Mosul, the U.S.-led coalition lays the groundwork to push the militants out of the Syrian city of Raqqa. And Venezuela's standoff deepens. The opposition-controlled Congress opens a political trial against Nicolas Maduro, arguing that he effectively abandoned the presidency by neglecting his job. And Apple, betting on a better year ahead, well, they better. The tech giant forecasts a return to growth in iPhone sales this winter after a rare slump that hampered Apple's revenue and stock performance over the last 3 quarters. So they better do something. And you know what? Why this was a beer run like no other. Well, Anheuser-Busch says it has completed the world's first commercial shipment by self-driving truck, a journey of more than 120 miles through Colorado. And toddlers survive a father's suicide leap. Wait till you hear this. A man dies after jumping off a highway bridge in New Jersey with his 2 young sons in his arms. Yet, the boys survive and are expected to recover fully. And Cleveland steps to center of the sports universe. The Cavaliers get their NBA championship rings the same night that the Indians host Game 1 of the World Series. And the Indians, of course, took that, right? Matter of fact, they just blew it out. And what's giving the Cubs fans pause? Well, since the playoffs expanded in 1995, only 4 teams with the best regular season record, which the Cubs had this year, have won the World Series. So there's a lot of anxious things going on in the news. But what we probably ought to do at this point is get to a little bit more in depth for you so you can get some of the particulars that are going on. Let's talk about Trump hits hard at Obamacare after a gloomy report. Now, hoping for a potent late campaign issue against Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump declared today that Obamacare is just blowing up after the government projected sharp cost increases for President Barack Obama's health care program. Just 2 weeks before the election day, the New York businessman addressed the health care development during an appearance at one of his Florida golf resorts that highlighted, I should say, the extraordinary intersection of his business and political interests. His message in the state that he described as a must-win was somewhat scattershot, leaving questions of how he will and his party can capitalize on a revived emphasis on Obamacare. Well, we're down in Florida. We're at Trump National Doral, and it's one of the great places on earth, Trump said during a visit to his golf club before encouraging his employees to praise him at the microphone. He suggested that many of his workers are having tremendous problems with Obamacare while highlighting a report that predicted premium increases of roughly 25% for the coming year. Wow. The Doral general manager later clarified that 95% of the club's employees are on company-provided insurance. Well, I guess that lends itself toward Trump. If you think about it, it does anyhow. Let's see here. I blew my spot. Here we go. Trump will run America like my business. Clinton, let's not. But you know what? His presidential dreams increasingly in question, Donald Trump pushed his business empire to the center of his political campaign today. Taking a break from battleground states, he made the case at his newest hotel that all Americans should look to his corporate record for evidence of how well he'd run the country. Hillary Clinton agreed, but not the way that he meant it. She used campaign events in Florida to attack the GOP nominee for having stiffed American workers, saying he built his empire with Chinese manufactured steel, overseas products, and labor from immigrants in the country illegally. Donald Trump is the poster boy for everything wrong with our economy, she's told several thousand supporters in Tampa, Florida. He refuses to pay workers and contractors. Well, you know, it's never the way it seems. I can tell you that. That's for sure. Well, let's talk about even worse news. The Islamic State is driving hundreds into Mosul, using them as human shields. Islamic State militants have been going door to door in villages south of Mosul, ordering people at gunpoint on a miles-long trek into the city and using them as human shields as the extremists prepare to defend it from Iraqi forces, according to residents swept up in the forced evacuations. Witnesses described scenes of chaos over the past week as hundreds of people were ordered out of their homes without having time to pack and driven north across the Nineveh plains toward the heavily fortified city where the Islamic State has been preparing for a chaotic showdown. The Islamic State took all of us from our homes at gunpoint and told us they were taking us with them to Mosul. Ahmed Bilal Harish told the Associated Press on Wednesday, they said, if you don't come with us, you're an unbeliever. Yeah, give that a break, right? It's just, there's going to be no end to it. Peace on earth is going to be a long time coming, right? I think so. Well, you know what? When we come back, we're going to talk about the French authorities declare that Calais migrant camp is empty. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Go away. We got a lot of stuff for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And right now, the French authorities are declaring that the Calais migrant camp is empty. You know, the grim camp known as the Jungle, a symbol of Europe's failure to come to grips with its crisis over asylum seekers, is no more. French authorities declared today that they had cleared out the camp after most of its thousands of residents were driven away on buses. An evacuation accelerated because some of the frustrated departing migrants set fire to parts of the burgeoning slum. Smoke hung in the air as dusk fell, its stench a reminder of how one of the world's wealthiest nations was unable to create order at the camp, where those fleeing war and poverty have lived in squalor for months or maybe even longer than that. Most of the camp's former residents, foiled in their bid to enter Britain despite reaching the port city of Calais on the edge of the English Channel, are being relocated to communities throughout France, where authorities have pledged to give them decent shelter and advice about how to seek asylum so that they can stay in Europe rather than return to trouble spots in the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. You know, that's actually a good thing. You know, some refused the offer, however, preferring to take their chances trying to hop trucks that were heading to ferries, crossing the English Channel, or on the speeding Eurostar trains that connect France to Britain via the nearby Eurotunnel. So, you know, we'll see what happens. At least I'll tell you what, you know, it sounds bad, but the truth is France is trying to improve the quality of life of these folks and treat them humanely and not let them be in that squalor, which causes a lot of disease and a lot of other problems. So, you know what? It doesn't sound as bad as it really is. I can tell you, there's a mass protest in Venezuela demanding the end of a dictatorship. Anti-government protesters jammed the streets of Venezuela's capital today on the heels of a decision by Congress to open a political trial against President Nicolas Maduro, whose allies have blocked moves for a recall election. Tens of thousands of demonstrators shut down Caracas's main highway, and schools and shops were closed as protesters occupied other key points around the city to demand the ouster of Maduro, who many Venezuelans blame for triple-digit inflation and shortages of food, medicines, and other basic goods. Well, protesters also rallied in other major cities in what opposition leaders were calling the takeover of Venezuela. Maduro has shown how scared he is that the people will express themselves, opposition leader Enrique Capriles said. Now, the protests come after electoral authorities blocked a recall campaign against the deeply unpopular president last week. The face-off escalated yesterday when the opposition-led legislature voted to put Maduro on trial, accusing him of effectively staging a coup. Yeah, go figure. You know what? All over the world. Isn't it horrible? All over the world. Well, here's some good news. Thank God, right? The Pentagon suspends the California National Guard bonus repayments. You know what? This is good news, folks. The Pentagon worked today to stave off a public relations nightmare, suspending efforts to force California's National Guard troops who served in Iraq and Afghanistan to repay their enlistment bonuses that may have been improperly awarded. Defense Secretary Ash Carter ordered the suspension in the wake of angry reactions to congressional Republicans and Democrats. They demanded he relieve the burden on Guard members following news reports that soldiers were asked to repay bonuses that in some cases totaled more than $25,000. The announcement does not end the reimbursement process, but postpones collection efforts while the Pentagon and Congress look for a long-term solution. White House spokesman John Earnest said President Barack Obama was pleased with the decision, but said it was important for the Pentagon to follow through by finding a long-term solution. Obama had warned the Defense Department earlier this week not to nickel and dime service members who were victims of wrongdoing by overzealous recruiters. Boy, hear, hear. But who suffers? Yeah, these same kids that we sent to Afghanistan. There's something wrong with that. Yeah, in Iraq. Well, Chinese are rallied to a farmer who killed official with a nail gun. Boy, nailed him, huh? Yeah. Well, you know what? 2 years after the leaders of his village razed his home to make way for a new development, farmer Jia Jinglong took his revenge with a nail gun. In a country that bans personal ownership of firearms, Jia modified a nail gun and used it to shoot and kill the local chief, who he believed ordered the demolition without adequately compensating him. He was tried and sentenced to death. But days after China's highest court gave the go-ahead for his execution, Jia's case has sparked an outcry from those who say that it exemplifies the stark powerlessness of ordinary Chinese when faced against government officials. Even two state-run newspapers have rallied to Jia's defense, publishing articles calling for Jia to be spared. Jia's village on the outskirts of the northern city of Shichang is overwhelmed by a cacophony of drilling, pounding, and jackhammering coming from construction sites. More than a dozen cranes could be seen in the distance, adjacent to high-rise apartment towers still being built as families walked on the street and vendors pushed carts bearing fruit, bottles, and bottles of water. Wow. Can you imagine? Oh, geez, I can't imagine, actually. What a horrible thing. Well, I'll tell you what, let's leave you with this one. Two quakes rattle Italy, crumbling buildings and causing panic. A pair of strong aftershocks shook central Italy late today, crumbling churches and buildings, knocking out power and sending panicked residents into a rain-drenched streets just 2 months after a powerful earthquake killed nearly 300 people. One person was injured in the epicenter of the Viso, where the rubble of collapsed buildings tumbled into the streets. But the Civil Protection Agency, which initially reported 2 injured, had no other immediate reports of injuries or deaths. The first quake carried a magnitude of 5.4, but the second one was 8 times stronger at 6.1, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, because many residents had already left their homes after the first one struck at 7:10 p.m. with plans to spend the night in their cars or elsewhere. They were at home when the second one hit just 2 hours later, possibly saving lives, news reports said. Well, that's it for the news today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to tell you something that's going to make you happy. We're going to tell you about stories where the IRS loses, and we'll do that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 57 degrees. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 47 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, it's 49 degrees and it's raining. You know, I should have actually gotten Cleveland's weather in there to see what the game was going to be like today. But I can tell you that we hope it's going to be a little bit better. I'm rooting for the Cubs because that is the team of my son-in-law. You know what? They got shut out yesterday. I hope it does better today. But right now, let's talk about some good news. Let's talk about the IRS loses. Our first case up is a husband escapes tax on a wife's income from a scam. Here's the thing. Jack Eller's wife was a cashier at an airport parking lot who joined other employees in a scam that stole from it, stealing $90,000 herself. Now, the money was not reported on the joint tax return that she filed with Jack. Eventually, the scam was discovered. She was convicted. She and Jack divorced, and the IRS tried to collect tax from Jack on the unreported income. He protested that he had known nothing about the scam, but the IRS said that he had known about the unreported income. Well, he went to court. This is what the judge said. Jack said that he didn't know about the income. His wife said that he had known about the income, but not about her scam. Well, Jack's testimony was the more credible, so he escapes the tax. Now, that's a good thing, right? Because think about it. She's in jail. She can't pay it. It's $90,000 worth of income. Forget about the penalties and everything else. That's going to be about $40,000 worth of tax on that. So give that a break. How about this? The IRS loses. A lawsuit settlement was not changed to evade tax. Here's the case. David Jones owned a car dealership, sued its distributor, and received a large settlement for all claims. But soon afterward, the lawyers changed its terms to make it for his personal injuries, which was always the intent. Now, damage for personal injuries is, I should say, tax-free. So Jones didn't report them in as income. Later, he filed for bankruptcy, but the IRS said that his taxes weren't dischargeable because the change in the settlement was to evade taxes. He went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS admitted that Jones actually had suffered personal injuries, and he credibly testified that he believed the entire settlement was for them. So there was no attempt to evade tax, and he could declare the bankruptcy. Bye-bye, IRS. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. They cannot force a change of courts. Sounds okay, doesn't it? But listen to this. Joyce Rainier sued the IRS in the Court of Federal Claims for a refund of an employment tax assessment that she had paid. Now, in response, the IRS filed a case against her and her partner in district court to collect even more of the tax that it had assessed against them 8 years earlier. Now, it asked to have the first case suspended, saying that the second was more efficient since it covered both parties who could owe tax, possibly saving another court case. Rainier wanted the second case suspended. Here's what the judge said. If the IRS was concerned about efficiency, it could have filed its own case sometime within the prior 8 years before Rainier filed hers. So the first case continues. The IRS can just go pound sand. You know what? And isn't that the way it ought to be? You bet your sweet booby it is. Well, you know what? You've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. That's where we're at right now with this segment of our show that we call Inside the IRS. It's a whole lot like The Twilight Zone. Yeah, now, these are not actually tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS is doing and things that they're thinking that if you know about in advance, you could actually use to your advantage. And that's kind of why we talk about it being inside the IRS. Now, here's the first issue. What do you think are the chances of going to jail for tax fraud? Ever wonder? Well, according to the most recent IRS statistics, criminal tax charges were filed against only 1,036 individuals during the entire year last year. Now, considering the millions of tax returns that are filed each year, the odds of actually going to jail for cheating the IRS are minuscule. But you do need to be careful. The IRS, under the guidance of the current commissioner, plans to enhance its enforcement programs. Now, more staff are going to be hired to conduct more audits in past years. So money that should have been devoted to increasing audit staff was diverted into computer modernization programs, making it easier for them to get the information they need to do the audits for compliance. So be careful. Don't go out there and spread yourself thin. Well, you know what? We got some good news from the IRS. If you're a member of a limited liability company, an LLC, which is a limited liability company, is an entity created under state law, and it's classified as a partnership for federal tax purposes unless the members elect corporate tax treatment. Now, the owners of an LLC called members are generally not personally liable for the company's debt, just like shareholders of a corporation. Until recently, there was some confusion at the IRS as to whether members of an LLC could be held personally liable for unpaid payroll taxes. Now, the IRS has issued a revenue ruling on this, which concludes that if the members of the LLC are not liable for the debts of the LLC under state law, then they will not be personally liable for unpaid payroll taxes either. But you need to be careful, because if the LLC distributes cash or properties to its members and owes the IRS payroll taxes, the IRS will go after the members personally. Now, that is a big deal, so you want to be careful with it. Now we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you. I do want to talk to you, but I lost the segment. Oh, there we go. I want to talk to you about special tax breaks for people with disabilities. You're gonna find this interesting, even if you're not under those situations. But you know what? I'll bet you know friends that are, and so you want to be careful about all these things and know that know what's available for you. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages, and I'll tell you about these special tax breaks for people with disabilities and their families. Don't go away.
Want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Well, it hasn't changed. It's still 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 57 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Paris, France, well, it's 45 degrees and it's misty right now. And if you're in Rome, Italy, it's 64 degrees and it's raining. But if you're in either one of those places, boy, how lucky you are. Absolutely. But you know what? Right now, I want to talk to you about special tax breaks for people with disabilities. You know, more than 15% of the United States population is classified by the Census Bureau as disabled. Now, disability exacts physical, emotional, and financial tolls on the affected individual and his or her family, but the tax law provides special income exclusions, deductions, and credits to help somewhat with the financial aspects of disability. So here's some tax-favored income. Social Security disability payments to the more than 8.8 million recipients are taxed in the same way as Social Security retirement benefits. They are fully tax-free for lower-income individuals, but others must include 50% or 85% of the payments in income. Details about these tax rules, you can actually find those in IRS publication 915. That's the Social Security and equivalent railroad retirement benefits brochure. Now, some specific types of disability-related income are going to be tax-free, and that's including supplemental security income, or SSI. Now, these payments made by the government to low-income people are not treated the same as Social Security benefits, even though they are also paid by the federal government. There is no dollar limit on the amount that can be received tax-free. And workers' compensation. Payments under workers' compensation for a job-related injury are tax-free. There's no dollar limit on this exclusion, but employer payments for non-work-related injuries are fully taxable. And if the employer continues to pay an injured employee's regular wages on the condition that workers' compensation payments be remitted to the employer, then only the excess of regular wages over that workers' compensation payments is going to be taxable. Now, in effect, all injured employee continues to receive tax-free treatment of the workers' compensation payments. It's just the way that they're working out that schedule. Well, how about payments under insurance policies? You know, benefits received from a disability policy that the taxpayer purchased are excludable from taxable income, but if the policy's premiums were paid by an employer as a tax-free fringe benefit, then payments received are going to be fully taxable. In like fashion, benefits received from a long-term care policy that the taxpayer purchased can be excludable, but if the policy's premiums were paid by the employer, then payments received are going to be fully taxable. It works the same way. How about payments from Veterans Administration? You know what? Disability payments for injuries incurred by service personnel as a direct result of a military or terrorist action are tax-free. Now, payments under the VA's therapeutic or rehabilitative programs have been classified as tax-free, even though the recipient performs services such as a few hours of work per week. You know, they do janitorial or light clerical services, stuff like that. Now, there is a refund opportunity here. Veterans who mistakenly paid tax on their payments in the prior 3 years can actually file for a refund and get that money back with interest, by the way. And employer-paid dependent care. You know what? Up to $5,000 of care received under the employer's dependent care benefit plan, which are common among large companies, more than 100 employees in those companies, is going to be tax-free. The care must be for a spouse or dependent of any age who is physically or mentally incapable of self-care. So that's kind of good news. $5,000 doesn't go for, but boy, it sure helps. It's not a kick in the bucket. How about tax deductions? You know, disabled individuals can claim any tax deductions available to the general population, as well as certain costs unique to them. So let's talk about medical expenses. Those who itemize deductions can deduct medical costs in excess of 10% of adjusted gross income, and that limit applies to other taxpayers' disability-related medical expenses, and that includes home improvements. The cost of installing ramps and railings, widening doorways for wheelchair access, and making other improvements to accommodate a disability is a fully deductible medical expense. Well, special education. The cost of related training or education for a disabled person is also a deductible medical expense. Let me give you a couple examples. How about Braille training or special schooling for a dyslexic? Absolutely. And take note, the cost of room and board at a special school is part of the medical deduction only if boarding is required as part of the program at the school. And special equipment such as artificial limbs, eyeglasses, hearing aids, telephone equipment for the hearing impaired, and care for a guide dog and wheelchairs. Those are all deductible. How about work-related expenses? You know, people who have a disability that functionally limits their ability to work, but who work nonetheless may incur added expenses. While employers are required under the Americans with Disabilities Act to make reasonable accommodations for the disabled to work, individuals may incur extra costs in getting to or from work, or even on the job, costs not paid by the employer. These costs can be deducted as unreimbursed employee expenses. For example, miscellaneous itemized deductions. Okay. Now, here's an example for you. Payments to an attendant or modifications to a vehicle. But take note, though, work-related expenses for someone who is disabled but chooses to work are not subject to the 2% of adjusted gross income floor, otherwise applicable to a miscellaneous itemized deduction. Now, expenses deducted as work-related cannot be deducted again as a medical expense if the impairment-related expenses are related to a self-employed business. They are deductible on the Schedule C, or for farmers on Schedule F. And then additional standard deduction. A person who's legally blind can claim an additional standard deduction beyond the basic standard deduction of $1,050. And if they're married, $1,350. And if they're, and so that's if they're single. Now, this is the only type of disability that qualifies for an additional standard deduction. So kind of keep that in mind. Then there's also some tax credits available. There are special credits opportunities for the disabled and their families. Dependent care credit is one of them. So if you can work, you pay expenses for care for a spouse or dependent, or of any age for that matter, who's incapable of self-care because of a physical or mental condition. You can claim a dependent care credit. Now, the credit is based on eligible expenses up to $3,000 for one disabled dependent, or $6,000 for two or more. Now, the credit is a percentage determined by income. For example, those with adjusted gross incomes of more than $43,000 are entitled to a 20% tax credit, or $600 more per person. Now, for more information on this, go take a look at the IRS publication 503. That's child and dependent care expenses. That's where we're getting this information. And then finally, credit for the elderly or the disabled. Now, this tax credit, 15% of a base amount set by law and then adjusted according to the tax rules, originally was designed for those under age 65 who are permanently and totally disabled, as certified by a doctor. Now, however, because credit amounts have not been indexed for inflation, almost no one can qualify for any credit. For more information on this thing, though, take a look at IRS publication 524. That's credit for the elderly or the disabled, and you'll be able to get some information there as long as you're doing these things. And you know what? There's a lot of stuff going on that you want to know about. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails, or at least that's my intent, is to try and answer your emails. And let me get to that part here where it tells me who actually sent them in. My first email actually comes from Chanel Youngquist from Carson, California, asking about a home refinance. And so I'm going to deal with that just as soon as we come back. We're going to be dealing with home refinance, charitable gifts, foreign outsourcing, and IRA contributions. Just 4 questions. And I'm going to give you 4 answers, and when we're all done, you're going to feel good about it. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at, let's see here, it's 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. Still 81 degrees. That hasn't changed at all here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 58 degrees. But if you are listening to us on one of our globally syndicated networks and you're in London, England, well, it's 50 degrees and it's foggy. Yep, foggy England, right? And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 46 degrees and it is mostly cloudy. And that's what the weather is out there. But you know what? It's time for us to answer some of your emails. And my first email today comes from Chanel Youngquist from Carson, California, asking about a home refinance. And writes, I want to refinance my home and also take out some money since it's gone up in value. But I'm told a deductible refinancing loan cannot be larger than the amount of the loan used to buy the home plus $100,000. Now, if I used a $300,000 loan to buy my home, can I deduct interest on a new loan of up to $400,000? Well, you know what, Chanel? The answer to your question, unfortunately, is no, you can't do that. If you refinance refinance your original home loan, you can deduct mortgage interest on a new loan amount that is equal to the remaining balance of the original loan plus $100,000, assuming there is no other home equity loan in place. Now, keep in mind that if the original loan that you used to acquire the home was for $300,000, and you have paid the loan balance down to, let's say, $175,000, excuse me, then you can deduct mortgage interest on a new loan of up to $275,000. That's actually how that works. Let's see here. My next email comes from Sophia Rivas from Roswell, Georgia, asking about charitable gifts, and writes, I received no deduction for my charitable gifts on my last tax return. The standard deduction was larger than my charity deduction, so I would have lost money filing an itemized return to claim them. It doesn't seem right that one gets the standard deduction even with no gifts to charity. Is there any way to deduct my charitable gifts? Well, you know what, Sophia? Unfortunately, the answer to your question is the same as the last one. No, I'm afraid not. And this points out a trap, by the way. At year end, many charities solicit deductible contributions, but gifts to charity save taxes only if you file an itemized tax return. And most taxpayers don't. Matter of fact, only about 26% actually file an itemized tax return. Now, to benefit from filing an itemized return, your total deductions, including gifts to charity, must exceed your standard deduction, which can be a very sizable amount of money. So you have to check with your tax man on that, and keep in mind that otherwise the gift to charity saves you no tax at all. So you want to be careful about it. It's not that we don't want you to do it. That's the way the IRS has written the law. They make it very difficult for people to be able to itemize, and they make it very difficult for the ones that do itemize to claim a lot of the things that are available there. That's how they collect tax. That's their job. They've proven how prudently they can spend our tax money, haven't they? Well, next email comes from Emmerich Brock from Fall River, Massachusetts, asking about foreign outsourcing, and says, suppose my small business outsources some computing work to a foreign firm. Are there any special rules that must be followed to prove the cost incurred and be able to deduct it? Well, you know what, Eric? There aren't any special rules. The rules are the same as if you contracted the work to a domestic business. You need to have proof of payment, such as canceled checks, and documentation showing it was made to a legitimate business services supplier. Now, the name and the contact information for that foreign firm and the business product or service that was actually received in return. Now, that kind of information generally is available right on an invoice. So legitimate business expenses paid to foreign firms are deductible just like those that are paid to U.S. firms. So don't worry about it. Just make sure you do your due diligence and you have all the records and documentation. Now, my last email comes from Jeremy Chang. Jeremy's from Sanford, Maine, asking about IRA contributions, and says, on my tax return, I see where to report a contribution to a regular IRA, but not to a Roth IRA. Am I missing something? How does one report a Roth IRA contribution to the IRS? Well, you know what, Jeremy, you're not missing anything. Our annual contributions to Roth IRAs are not deductible and don't affect the tax bill, so they're not reported on the tax return. Now, if you're eligible to make a contribution, you simply make it and keep appropriate records for the account. But take note, while a Roth contribution won't affect the tax bill, it may qualify you to take a retirement savings contributions credit that reduces your taxes. Now, to be eligible, adjusted gross income must not exceed $50,000 on a joint return or $25,000 on a single return. And the other rules apply there as well. So for more details, take a look at the instructions on IRS Form 8880. That's credit for qualified retirement savings contributions. That's kind of where you're going to want to be with this whole thing. We always encourage you to seek the advice of a licensed professional. They're generally going to always save you more money than they cost you. And they're going to let you sleep at night and give you peace of mind. That's actually the biggest part of this whole thing, is they let you sleep at night and give you peace of mind. And the reason for that is one of the conditions of these licensed professionals to have a license is that they have what they refer to as errors and omissions insurance. Now, that just simply means that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. And that should help you sleep at night. They generally save you a lot more money than they ever cost you, and you want to keep that in mind as you move along with these things. The other thing I wanted to remind you of is that we have our apps available to listen to the show. We encourage you, please, to get our app. You can just go to your app store, download it. It's absolutely free. Just search Robert Cardoza Live, and the app will pop up. Download it. It won't cost you anything. That'll let you listen to us live if we're actually broadcasting like we are right now, or you can listen to any of the archive shows. They're all going to be listed right there. Listen to them at your own leisure anytime you want. We're going to also encourage you to tell all your friends about our show here at the Robert Cardoza Live Network. And you know what? I'd really appreciate it if you did that. Your friends will appreciate it. And you know what? And I think that'll make you feel good too. That's the most important part of this whole thing. Now, don't forget that coming up later in our show, we're going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You know, today's story is going to be Christmas night. Now, it's not exactly what you expect, so you don't want to miss out on this. It's always a great deal. You know, Paul Harvey was the biggest and best voice in America, and he reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. And his rest of the story is really a fantastic thing to listen to. You'll be glad that you listened to it. Now, also coming up right after this break, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. He'll be telling us what's new in wireless technology, what's new in the world, as that matter. He'll probably even tell us a little bit about what Tim Cook's cooking up to make next year a brighter year for Apple. We'll see what happens with that. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000. 5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:59 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah, it's still 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, and if you're waiting to see the first pitch of the World Series and you're in Cleveland, Ohio, well, I want to tell you, it's cold. It's 44 degrees with scattered clouds. And if you happen to be in Wichita, Kansas, it's 76 degrees, partly cloudy, and it is humid. But I'll tell you what, clear skies at the location of the Palace of our own Dr. Wireless in Torrance, California. It's 71 degrees. Hey, Joel, you sitting out there?
I am sitting out here. How are you today, Robert?
I am terrific. God, it's beautiful. It is just gorgeous. Every once in a while, we get these days that remind us why we live in Southern California.
Well, we had that day the other day, and we're going to probably have it Friday.
Yeah.
Those are the days where it pours, so we can appreciate the 354 days of the year. It's nice.
Did you see did you get lightning and thunder and the whole 9 yards there too?
Robert, it even rained here. First time, I think, all year that I can appreciate any rain, and it felt like I was in Mexico. It was rumbling in the jungle.
Wow, it was exciting. I'll tell you, that was really terrific. So talking about exciting, do you ever go surfing in the rain?
That's something I used to do all the time in Florida. I don't do it that often in California. I don't do it during the first rain anyway, because all that crud in the sewers washes out into the ocean. And because in Florida it rains all the time anyway, it's no big deal. But when it rains once every 8 months here, you get the oil off the street, you get the animal feces, you get all kinds of, syringes, tampon pliers. We get all kinds of stuff.
Good Lord. Forget I asked, Joel.
So, yeah. So if the waves are good enough, I forego all, the thought of anything getting sick or whatever, and I do it. But it wasn't really good enough to go out the other day, so I haven't been out for a few days.
Hey, listen, in the headlines today, Tim Cook was in the headlines saying that Apple is betting on a better year ahead. They got something new and exciting and secret in the offing?
They do. It's called the iPhone 8.
Oh, you're kidding.
And it won't be out until September of 2017, but that's the big news. I've heard some other things they're working on, but they have to because their competition is heating up. Have you heard of the new Surface Studio?
Surface Studio? No. But you've got my interest.
Microsoft just came out with their version of the iMac. And the thing is super slim. It looks like an iMac, actually. But it's Microsoft Windows 10.
Wow.
So it looks very Apple-like. But there's all kinds of amazing stuff going on right now. Got good news, I got bad news, I got all kinds of stuff.
Well, you know what?
What do you want first?
You know what? If you can give it all to us, then do it whatever you want. But if we're not going to get to it all, give us the good news first.
All right. Well, in that case, good news for Amazon tablet users, Amazon Fire tablet users. They got a new upgrade that's just coming out, and it's going to introduce Alexa, which is their voice-activated assistant, who is much sharper than Siri, it seems, these days.
Well, I think Siri I think she's getting old. She's becoming a little absent-minded.
And senile, but I found that if you abuse her a little bit, she certainly responds better. I told you last week that I've been abusing her and calling her all kinds of nasty stuff, and she's listening better than she has in months.
I'm going to try that then, because last couple of days she's just been off the wall here.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's weird stuff. But we got Microsoft Azure's platform. You probably heard of that. They just came out with a new security program to help the Internet of Things devices be more secure. This is going to be a huge problem for people. Everybody and their mother wants to hook up their refrigerators and their washing machines and their garage door openers and their front doors and to the Internet of Things. And it's great. You can turn on your lights and unlock your home and open your garage door and know when you got to buy eggs. But as soon as somebody hacks you, you could be in trouble. It's the same with the cars. If you're driving down the street and somebody tells your car to stop, it's not a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't it even worse than that, though, Joel? I mean, if you have, let's refer to it as a smart home, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, where the entire home is kind of controlled by a computer. And it's like you say, the lights, the doors, the air conditioning, the refrigerators, the shopping, everything, but it's all connected to a computer, which means that if you get hacked, man, they've got everything.
This is true, and there's very few devices that cannot get hacked. I don't know if you've... there's a company called ZDI, Zero Day Initiative, and they just ran a program called, it was PWN to Own. It was a contest run by them, and the company's based in Japan, and they basically paid hackers. They rewarded hackers money if they could crack some of the more popular devices. And depending on what they were able to do, as far as the vulnerabilities, that depended on how much they made. And one of the Chinese crews called Keen Lab, they successfully compromised both the Apple iPhone and the Google Nexus phones.
Wow.
And what they did is with the iPhone 6S, this Keen Lab chain found 2 iOS vulnerabilities to steal pictures from the device. And they were awarded $52,500 for that hack.
Really?
They also.
But are you saying they could? That's the only thing they could do is steal pictures? They couldn't get to any other information?
No. That was just the start. They also managed to install a rogue application on the iPhone 6S. But to Apple's credit, the app wouldn't survive a reboot thanks to a default configuration setting that prevented persistence. But despite that, ZDI bought the bugs used in the hack for $60,000.
Wow!
So this company, Zero Day Initiative, paid $60,000 for these hacks. So they thought they're significant. Same company on the Nexus 6P, which is the latest device before the newest one that they're coming out with, the Pixel. They were able to install a malicious app on the Google device and repeating the attack 3 times. So rebooting it didn't help. They were paid $102,500.
So let me ask you something, Joel.
For that bug.
So when these hackers they get a hack and they're able to do this and document it, and so what happens then? Does the subject of the hack, the company, then make an offer to them, and if they accept the offer, the company tells them how they hacked it and give them the formula? Or how does that work? I mean, how do they determine? I mean, can the hacker say, no, that's not enough money, I won't give it to you for that?
Oh yeah, so the hackers own it. It's like anything else. The hackers develop the technique or technology, and if you want it, you're going to pay them whatever they want for it. And some of these labs do it because they know it's worth a lot more than that to Apple or Google. And some of them do it probably for publicity. But the problem is it's easy, for an attacker to disclose sensitive information or install a malicious application. Yeah. And so the bottom line here is you have to be very, very, very careful when you open up websites. They can make a website that looks like a familiar, safe website. They can make it look safe when that's not really what you're opening. It's kind of like the email. I used to get all these, people used to do these malicious emails, and it'd have my name, and it'd say, hey, Robert, be from me, from Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. Hey, Robert, saw a really cool website. Check this out. And you click on it, and it's malware. And if you right click my name, you'll see it's not coming from Joel at Dr. Wireless. but it's some other name from somebody else. But they make it look like it's somebody you know. So you really need to be careful these days.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually, with very few exceptions, I got to be careful here. I don't want to mention name, but I have a good friend who, daily is sending me stuff, and I don't want to be rude, so I don't tell him. I don't open them. I just erase them. I am not going to open up unsolicited stuff. I don't know what the heck's in there, and I don't really know that it's from him.
Yeah, I get a lot of stuff, and I do know it's from this particular person, and I know probably most of it's safe, but at the same time, I'm not sure of that.
Yeah.
So I generally don't open it either.
Yeah, the last thing I want to do is get something from a friend of mine that said, "Oops, I got hacked."
Well, usually you will get that. The one thing you have to watch out for these days, and I do it all the time, and I'm going to give your users a warning here, is this. Anybody who's on Facebook, I don't know if this has happened to you, but, I'll get a friend request from a friend of mine, and I'll think, God darn, I know I'm friends with them already. What's going on? And before I, respond to it, I'll go into my friends and I'll say, oh, yes, I am friends with this guy. And he's got 852 friends here. And then I look on the new friend request and it's the same picture, same person, and maybe he's got 3 friends. And he's trying to refriend me again. And what that tells you immediately is this is a bogus, fake friend request. And if you friend that person, guess what? You're going to be in the Ray-Ban sunglass business or Oakley's or something. You're going to share one of these, $15 for a $300 pair of Oakleys, which is obviously knockoff stuff.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to, put you down, along with all your friends are going to get that. So be careful anytime you get a friend request and you think, oh, I think I'm friends with this person. Check it before you befriend the person. And let that person know that I had a friend of mine who's a famous, professional women's surfer. And she's older than I am. She's about 10 years older than I am. And she's got a gazillion, 5,000, followers and friends. And I got a friend request from her and I noticed she only had 32 friends. I'm thinking, well, that's unusual. And then I noticed her birth date was in 1966, making her 12 years younger than me instead of 10 years older than me. So I let her know. I said, I got good news and bad news. You're only, 57 years old. You're not 75 anymore.
That's good news.
But that's the good news. The bad news is you just went down from 5,000 friends to 32.
Oh.
And I told her that, she's been hacked, and make sure you tell all your friends that, if you see these, if these come to you, it's not you.
Yeah. You know what? I should do that. I've got a lot of followers. I need to maybe on a regular basis, do that. Unfortunately, I get, I probably get, an extra 100 or 200 people a week that follow me. And I don't pay any attention to it other than, if they follow me, I follow them. It's just a courtesy. And that might be a mistake.
Well, you never know. But you want to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Isn't it a shame that how wonderful new technology can be and how it can improve your standard of living and your information technology and everything else, and yet somebody's always going to find a way to abuse it and to make it dirty?
This is true. And you have to be very, very, very careful because these days, a lot of these carriers are not disclosing everything. Let's compare unlimited plans. Today, there's 3 companies that advertise unlimited plans. And there's one company that doesn't even offer unlimited plans. But for big data users, believe it or not, that company, in my view, has the best deal. And let me tell you why. I just had to do 4 cost analyses today alone, and it happened to be 3 of these 4 users that I was doing this for are monster users, meaning they use tremendous data. One of these people lives on a boat, and they use their phone for Netflix. You know, when they want to watch movies, they don't have cable, obviously, on the boat. So they needed enough data to be able to not just support their business needs, but to also support their pleasure needs while they're on the boat.
Right.
So I extensively compared all of these plans, and initially I figured, well, the 3 carriers that are offering the unlimited plans are going to have the best deal for him. And one of those carriers was AT&T, but that was out for a couple reasons. One, I don't particularly care for them, as you know, but more importantly, to get their unlimited plan, you got to be a subscriber to DirecTV or their Uverse. So they do this bundle deal where you can't even have an unlimited plan with them unless you bundle in their cable TV program. So I threw them out. The other 2 that offer unlimited data are Sprint and T-Mobile. But guess what? They offer unlimited data at 480p, which is not quite high def. It's standard def. It's plenty of speed. You're not going to buffer. You're not going to get the little spin and wheel. Everything will play fine, but it's not as sharp as HD. But here's the interesting thing. T-Mobile and AT&T both advertise unlimited data. They both got sued by the FCC because the FCC rightly believes that unlimited data is not 22 or 24 gigabytes of 4G and then the rest in 2G. And that's what these folks were doing. And they weren't disclosing it.
Without telling their subscribers.
Well, if you read the 4-point fine print, which nobody does, it's in there. But, you know, the FCC fined AT&T big bucks because AT&T at 22 gigabytes was slowing. They call it network optimization. During peak times, if you're using over 22 gigabytes of data per month, we may need to optimize our network. What that means is as soon as you hit 22 gigs, you're metered and they're going to slow you down to 2G. 2G is fine for Facebook. It's fine for email. You cannot do voice over IP or watch video with 2G. So to say that you're getting an unlimited plan but not be able to do functionality that you can do on an unlimited 4G plan is dishonest. So you will notice on all of the AT&T commercials, on TV even, it does say may slow down at 22 gigabytes. T-Mobile does the same thing. It's 24, 26 gigabytes. But here's the interesting thing, Robert, and I still like T-Mobile, don't get me wrong, but the Un-carrier has become very carrier with this new program. And I'm going to tell you why. $70 a month gets you unlimited data with T-Mobile. $60 a month gets you unlimited data with Sprint. What they both have in common is they're both going to slow you down to 480p with these plans. And you're going to get throttled once you hit 22 to 26 gigabytes. What I discovered when doing this analysis is this. Verizon, the only company who advertises that they don't offer an unlimited plan, actually comes closest to offering the best unlimited plan.
Wow.
And that may not make sense, but let me explain how I come to that conclusion. Verizon has a couple programs. The ones that the one I was quoting today, there's 3 of them. The one for most people is 14 gigabytes for $80. You add $20 per line. So for a 1-line plan, you're at $100. The plan that I like, that I was recommending most of these folks, is 18 gigabytes for $90. For 1 line, you add, it's $110 actually. You got to add $20 per smartphone. Now, here's the interesting thing with T-Mobile. Now, that gives you 18 gigabytes for $110 of 4G HD.
Is that per month?
That is per month.
Is anybody ever going to use that much?
Well, I talked to a guy today that I'm doing a deal with who uses 26 gigabytes a month on his big months, and I'm giving him the XXL plan, which may be the best deal in the business. This one is 26 gigabytes for $130. And the reason this is good is this is, like the other plan I mentioned, 1080p high res. Mm. Now, if you want that with T-Mobile, it's $70 plus 25. Mm. You pay an extra 25 a month. They will give you the 1080p. Now, I wouldn't do it so much. The difference between 480p and 1080p, they're both 4G LTE. They're both great. This 480p business is DVD quality. So it's good. Yeah. It's just not super duper high res. Well, you spend $900 for a phone that supports high res. You want the capability. You want a plan that supports it. But here's what's most important.
Hang on, leave that as a cliffhanger, because we've got it. We're a little over on our break time. Leave that as a cliffhanger. When we come back, you're going to finish the story.
Will do.
And we'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Actually, as soon as we come back, he's going to give out some contact information, and then he's going to give you the rest of the story. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Sounds like we were out next to a church, for Pete's sake. Anyway, I want you to know that at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time, it's still 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 75 degrees. You know what? It's just a little cloudy. And if you're in Hong Kong, it's 70 degrees with patches of fog. But I'll tell you what, no fog in the brain of our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, why don't you give out that contact information, because I cut you short at the last break. Give out some contact.
No fog, Robert, but a lot of wind over here. Yes, everything we're talking about today, I'm doing this fast, and I'm going to go even faster for the rest of this stuff, but everything we're talking about today is coming right off our Facebook/DR Wireless page, also coming from our www.drwireless.com/blog page. And anything I'm talking about that your users should have any questions about, they can reach me, joel@drwireless.com.
Okay, sounds good.
Back to the unlimited plan fallacy. As we're talking about, 3 carriers advertise they offer unlimited plans, and the irony is the one carrier who doesn't offer unlimited plans is probably offering what I consider closest to an unlimited plan. And the reason I say that is this. If you go with Sprint, it's going to cost you $20 more to move up to premium data. If you go with T-Mobile, it's $25 more to move up to premium data. Both of these carriers are giving you unlimited 4G LTE standard definition, which for most people is fine. Now, I'm going to let you know what's in the fine print that nobody reads, and that is this. If you plan on using an iPad, if you plan on using a hotspot, using your device as a hotspot, I use my iPhone as a hotspot all the time.
Yeah, I do too.
You go under settings, you put on hotspot, and you now have a router capable of getting about 10 devices on the internet with high speed. Now, here is the caveat that nobody's talking about. With Verizon, you don't have to pay any extra to get 1080p. They don't offer this low, slow resolution 4G. They only offer the fast speed. And the beauty of Verizon's network is not only do you get the 1080p, but you're getting 4G full speeds on your hotspot. You do not get that. When you're with T-Mobile, it was 2G. I heard they just raised it to 3G because somebody put them under the magnifying glass. Same scenario with Sprint. You're getting 2G on your speeds when you're using your smartphone as a hotspot. So if you want to get your iPad or your computer on the line and you're on a unlimited T-Mobile or unlimited Sprint plan, you can browse fast on the browser of your phone, but as soon as you use your phone as a hotspot, you are snail slow with those carriers. Now with Verizon, you've got the full speed. Now, how am I calling a Verizon plan unlimited when they don't call it unlimited? Very simple. The plans that I was quoting today, this 18 gigabyte deal for $110, one line, $130 with 2 lines. Well, that is 4G high def, and if you should exceed that, guess what? They disclose they're going to throttle you. What a concept. They're telling you that instead of charging you an overage of $15 per gigabyte, which them and AT&T used to love to do, because T-Mobile went to this throttling model, guess what? AT&T does it now. Verizon does it now. Sprint does it now. T-Mobile doesn't do it anymore. T-Mobile gives you unlimited 4G, but I use that term loosely because in order to get what Verizon's getting, it's $25 per line more. See what I'm saying? To get the 1080p on your iPhone and to get the full 4G speeds when you're using your iPhone as a hotspot, I think Verizon now really has the best deal of all these carriers.
Wow. Wow.
And we're talking I did a cost analysis for one of my clients, and by the time we added in the $25 feature on the T-Mobile plan and a second line, it was $70 plus $50. It came out to be $161 and change. And with the Verizon comparable, it was $166. It was $5 more. But the Verizon user was getting the 1080p, on the hotspot as well. So it's very comparable now, but you just need to be careful with this hotspot business, and this is what they're really not talking to you about.
So now, Joel, if you're using like if I were to turn my hotspot on because I wanted to use my iPad in a restaurant or something, and they didn't have a internet available for me, can I tell what speed is coming over that thing?
Yes, you can do a speed test. In fact, I just did a speed test on my T-Mobile. Now, I'm on an old T-Mobile plan, which is similar to paying the $25 more. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why these old plans are good, because I'm on the old plan where I didn't have to pay the $25 more. But I just did a speed test that will blow your mind. I got 86 megabits per second down and 28 megabits per second upload. That's faster than my Time Warner.
Really?
And that is T-Mobile, which makes me wonder why you are still with AT&T.
Oh, no,
somebody has to support them.
Yeah, well, but I'm getting because I've got AT&T, but my internet is not with them. And when I do a speed test and I'm in the studio here, I'm getting like 300 megabits per second.
What are you, Fios?
Oh, yeah, I'm with Fios, yeah.
All right. Well, that's another bit of news we were going to talk about.
Oh, wait, you're not going to disappoint me now, are you?
No, I'm not going to disappoint you.
Oh, okay.
But I am going to disappoint anybody who lives in Chicago, Dallas, Jacksonville, Los Angeles, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, Portland, San Diego, San Jose, and Tampa.
Oh.
How about that? And what I'm going to let them know is this. The only providers really that I know of that were offering Fios was Verizon, which is now Frontier.
Right.
And Google. And Verizon years ago announced, because I wanted Fios, and they actually, I understand they did bring it into my building just before they quit offering it, but Verizon stopped building out Fios, and I suspect they knew they were going to sell the Frontier. Mm-hmm. And everybody I know with Frontier is unhappy right now because they're in that transitional period between Verizon.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you,
customer service isn't great.
I got to tell you, at the very beginning, at the transition, I was having some problems because it they took over my television, my smart television, and they took over the internet and all because I've got one of those smart deals, and I had the phone thing, and I was really upset because I was having all kinds of problems. I made a phone call and they fixed it, and then it immediately went bad again. I made another phone call, they fixed it again, and I have not had a problem since. And it's been about I don't know, 3-4 months, maybe longer than that. And so I no longer have a problem with Frontier.
Excellent. My brother had Verizon, now Frontier in Tampa, Florida. Lightning fast speeds. The service is terrific. What I'm getting at here is those cities I just mentioned were all cities that Google is offering fiber services to. Mm-hmm. They're all cities that Google has just suspended offering these services to, and they're having massive layoffs. So bottom line is, if you're in those cities and you don't have Google Fiber now, don't hold your breath. You're not going to get it.
So why would they do that? Is it because they couldn't get market share? And
it's cost. It's a cost thing. It costs a lot of money to lay this. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going wireless. We're going from 4G to 5G. Speeds are getting faster. Mm-hmm. It's just prohibitive to put in, cable, to put in fiber at this point. It's very difficult. They got to rip up streets, lay it underground. It's just not cost effective, and I don't believe there's a big enough demand for them to make it worthwhile.
Gotcha.
So anyhow, I'm going to run over some stuff real quick just because we're running out of time. There's a new Windows 10 virtual reality phone coming out for T-Mobile. Unfortunately, it's made by Alcatel. They're not my favorite manufacturer, but I'm going to reserve reviewing it or, giving my feelings towards this until I actually play with one. Another thing interesting is Apple really blew it this time. They totally underestimated the demand for the 7 Plus. Can you imagine that?
So they sold out and couldn't meet the market.
Well, they were stupid. They made way too many 7s, 32 gig 7s, and people don't want the 32 gig 7s. They want the 128, the 256, but there really isn't a huge demand for the 7 as much as for the 7 Plus. And had they asked me, I could have told them that the differences between these devices, people don't care. An A9 processor, an A10 processor, there isn't a big enough difference. The camera difference on the 7 versus the 6S, not significant. The most important difference is the fact that you lose your 3.5 millimeter jack. So to me, there's a negative and a few positives, and at the end of the day, I have a 6S, and I wouldn't trade it for a 7. If you said even trade, I wouldn't do it. Now, for a 7 Plus, yes, I'd probably do it because you're getting the dual mode camera, image stabilization, optical zoom, wide angle shooting. That's pretty cool.
You're not gonna wait for the 8, huh?
I am going to wait for the 8. I've got my 6S Plus, and I'm, it's fine. It gets it done. I'll tell you something funny, which reminds me, I got into this business in 1990, Robert, and back then car phones were $2,000. We installed them in your car. The transceiver looked like Samsonite. We hid it in your trunk.
Yep.
We do tune-ups, and people would come in, and, they would knock off their cellular glass mount antennas in a car wash, and we put them on. And back then it used to crack me up because people used to come in and want to buy glass mount antennas, and they didn't have a phone. And I said, well, why do you want this? Where's your transceiver? Well, I don't have a phone. I just want to look cool. I want to make it look like I got a cell phone. So we used to sell the real glass mount antennas, even though they weren't hooked up to anything. Then I told the boss, you know what? Let's just buy some fake glass mount antennas at a fraction of the cost. These people aren't going to use them anyway. They just want to look cool. And you'd be surprised how many people came in and ordered those. Well, a similar thing is happening in China right now. People are buying, they're not buying the new iPhone 7. They're buying these cases that make their current iPhone 6s look like 7s. They even have something that covers up the 3.5 millimeter headset jack.
Really?
So they want people to look at their phones and think, gee, this guy's got the 7. They got one that has a case that makes it look like it's got the dual camera. So they're faking that they have the new phone with these cases and plugging up their 3.5 millimeter jacks. I'm thinking, boy, sometimes history repeats itself, and it's reminding me of the fake cell phone antennas that we used to sell.
But how ridiculous, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Anyhow, here's something that you want.
All right.
You ready for this?
I am.
Next time you travel,
do
you fly Delta at all?
Yeah.
They have radio frequency ID luggage tags now. So if you lose your luggage, you can see it getting on an airplane and going to Logan if you're going to Honolulu.
You're kidding.
Nope. It's going to get embarrassing for these airlines that are using them. Should they not be using them regularly? Because, people can track where their luggage is at any given time. So you can watch it get taken off the plane and, taken to the luggage area or put on the wrong plane and sent somewhere else.
Oh, jeez. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that's kind of something that, the technology's been around for a long time, and it's good to see it's actually getting implemented.
Yeah, that actually is good news.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah, I've traveled extensively, and many years ago, I'd get separated from my luggage on a regular basis, and those are the days when, if you got separated from your luggage, they'd give you this little kit, and they'd tell you to go out and buy what you needed. You come back with the receipts, and they'd actually give you the greenbacks, and they'd pay you.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that. That was in the old days.
That's the real old days. Now, of course, those days are over. But being able to find your luggage, I've also gone to Europe where all of a sudden I got separated from my luggage, and that was not good news.
No, not at all.
All right, my friend.
Before I forget, I just wanted to mention that we have an extension on our free $500 Global Star satellite phone offer with the 1-year contract. With all these earthquakes in Italy today and hurricanes on the East Coast last week, and who knows what's going to happen here, it never hurts to have that added level of protection. This is a great opportunity. Anybody who wants information on that should contact me, Joel at drwireless.com.
And we're talking satellite phones now. So, people need to be aware that what Joel's talking about is a phenomenal deal. Can you tell it in 30 seconds?
I can. The thing about satellite phones that's wonderful is this. First of all, very few people have them. Second of all, you don't need local infrastructure. You make a phone call, that call's going directly 917 miles straight up in the air to a satellite. Then it gets transferred to one of our switching stations in either Texas or Florida. Then it will go to a regular cell phone, another sat phone, what have you. But great solution, works in areas that cell phones don't, deserts, mountains, the ocean, or should your infrastructure go down and your cell phones go down or get busied out, it's a great solution.
Well, that is a terrific solution. Hey, Joel, I look forward to talking to you next Wednesday. Try and stay dry in case it comes down on us later on in the week.
Likewise, you too.
All right, my friend. And the rest of you folks out there, stay on board with us, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And then after that, we'll do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey in the rest of the story. So don't go away. We got a lot of great show for you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:43 p.m. Pacific time. It is still 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Madrid, Spain, well, it's 64 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, listening to us, it's 69 degrees and it is sunny. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is reward your team for listening. You know, many jobs require people to continually develop new skills. As a manager, you should be less worried about with what people know and more concerned about whether they're able to learn. But it's not enough to hire curious, adaptable people. You also have to reward them for learning. When your employees have increased their knowledge and their value to the company, provide them with new and challenging opportunities. Promote people only when they've acquired sufficient expertise in other jobs in the organization, not just their own. Or you could give awards for individuals who organize events or activities to promote learnability in the company, running internal conferences, bringing external speakers in, or circulating information that nurtures people's curiosity. Now, reward simpler habits too, like writing a blog or sharing articles on social media or recommending books and movies. Yeah, there's plenty of reasons to reward people, but all of it would be good for your company, guaranteed, and good for you too. Now, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. You know, this is all about a positive mental attitude. You've heard me say it many, many times. You really are in control of your own life. You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, if you're going to be a success or a failure. You do that every morning when you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you say, wow, I'm going to have an exciting, productive, profitable day today, and I'm going to make everybody around me happy. Yeah, you make that decision. Well, you know what? Our lesson for today is to know what you're thinking, ask yourself how you're feeling. Emotions are valuable tools that instantly tell us what we're thinking. Give that some thought. You know, the truth is, you decide if the light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming train. Well, you know what today is? Sure, it's Wednesday, October the 26th, and it is somebody's birthday. And you know what? We've got some terrific birthdays, but here's the first one. This is a person born in 1947. She actually was the 67th U.S. Secretary of State and a leading candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, probably going to be our 45th president. Happy birthday, Hillary Rodham Clinton. And here's to a lady that was born in 1963, a musician who joined the alternative rock band 10,000 Maniacs and went on to have a solo career. Happy birthday, Natalie Merchant. And then finally, born in 1967, country music singer who's married to Nicole Kidman. Happy birthday, Keith Urban. Yes, sir. Well, you're wondering about what happened today in history? Don't have to wonder anymore, because I'm about to tell you. On October the 26th, 1863, the Football Association was formed. And in 1881, the gunfight at the OK Corral takes place at Tombstone, Arizona. And then in 1951, boxer Joe Louis comes out of retirement to fight Rocky Marciano. However, Marciano would win the fight in 8 rounds. And now, finally, in 1984, Baby Faye receives a heart transplant from a baboon. Boy, how historical. And now, as a result of that, people are getting heart transplants almost daily. Isn't that something? Yeah. That is really, really something. Well, our quote for today comes from Leo Tolstoy. And Tolstoy says, if you want to be happy, be. Give that some thought. Pretty profound if you think about it. Let's talk about some interesting but useless facts. You know, if you were at 0 degrees latitude and 0 degrees longitude, you'd be standing in the Atlantic Ocean. I don't know why that's even interesting. How about this? Did you know that when born, a baby giraffe is 6 feet tall? Now that's something. Yeah. How about this one? A scientific report from the University of California found that the steam rising from a cup of coffee contains the same amounts of antioxidants as 3 oranges. The antioxidants are heterocyclic compounds, which prevents cancer and heart disease. It's good for you. The steam. And we're just letting it go out in the atmosphere. Breathe that stuff, guys. Breathe it. How about this one? The population divides approximately in half between the AM and PM people. But early birds have the edge. 56% routinely rise early, while 44% stay up late. Now, medical studies, by the way, find that people tend to work more productively in the morning. Well, I'm one of those. Let's try this one on for size. Research indicates that mosquitoes are attracted to people who have recently eaten bananas. Keep that in mind the next time you're in the South, or in the San Joaquin Valley, or in South America, or in Africa. Stay away from those bananas, folks. Try this one in. You know what? Swearing at someone over the phone in Virginia is punishable by a $100 fine. That's probably a good law if you think about it. Try this one. This will probably be the last one we do today. A single coffee tree yields only 1 pound of roasted ground coffee annually. Yeah, that is something in it. Yeah. Well, you know what? We're going to have to take a short break, our last short break, and then when we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Today's story, Christmas night, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We got a lot of great stuff for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:54 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 60 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Sydney, Australia, listening to the show, it's 68 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Auckland, New Zealand listening, it's 64 degrees. And it is clear. But right now, it's time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. Yes, sir. You know what? Paul Harvey was heard on over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations, and read in 300 newspapers. He was the recipient of numerous awards and honors, including the 9 honorary degrees. And on the Gallup Polls list of America's most admired men, he was one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators. And the story for today is Christmas night. You know, Christmas Eve, 1776. A silent, swift race with the devil. A race against time. In the darkness, a quiet panic gripped General Washington's men, and as the black air grew colder, the tension among them increased. Conditions for the crossing had worsened throughout the night. The Delaware was high and flowing fast. Gigantic blocks of ice were in the river now, and new ice had begun to form. Unless this sinister water could be negotiated, their planned attack on Trenton would fail. A powerful wind was whipping over the Delaware, driving relentless. As it lashed at long, light draft boats, even the trained seamen of Glover's regiment began to wonder if fate were entirely against them. Deadline for the crossing had been midnight, now long since passed. The loading of 18 field cannons on the narrow boats was painfully slow work. The organization of troops and the treachery of the river had pressed them into early morning. Christmas morning. It was 3 a.m. before the mission was accomplished. The ice was behind them. Our artillery was unloaded on New Jersey soil. By 4 a.m., General Washington's men were deployed. In 3 hours, it would be light. There were 9 miles of road to cover, 2,500 troops to move, and the enemy was sleeping at Trenton. You know what happened at Trenton 200 Christmases ago. First contact with the enemy at 8 a.m. Final surrender before 10 o'clock. Not one American life had been lost, and it would never have come to pass had General George Washington not bet against the odds, had the dark Delaware not been crossed that Christmas night. The scene had been immortalized in a painting, and though you're certainly familiar with it, I don't think you know the rest of the story. Of all the stirring patriotic portraits, perhaps none is so popular, so well known worldwide as Washington crossing the Delaware. You know the one, General George standing in the bow of the Durham boat, facing an ice-ravaged river, crew members laboring at the oars, some prodding the ice away, flag ripping in the wind. One can practically feel the stinging sleet by merely observing it. Now, I know it's the fashion to pick apart great works of art, to detect some small indiscretion, something that could not possibly have been, but we're not going to do that here, because there's something even more remarkable about the painting. In the first place, there were actually 3 paintings of Washington crossing the Delaware, same artist, 3 separate versions. One suffered damage and a fire was subsequently lost. Another was moved in 1851 to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. An impressive work. It hangs there still. But the third version, the one you know, hung in the White House until September of 1973. At that time, it was put up for auction and was purchased privately the following year for $260,000. The current owner, one Dwayne Hilmer of Omaha, Nebraska, released that precious painting during the bicentennial year of the Dusseldorf Art Museum in Germany. In Germany? That's right. The painting had gone home. This all-American masterwork was painted 75 years after the event, and it was painted by a German artist in Germany. And one wonders if he knew then what the admirers of this borrowed exhibit do not seem to know now, that our George was not crossing the river that night to fight the British, but to fight Germans. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, on my next show tomorrow, I'm going to join Sean LaFave on the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to be talking about healthcare, and I'll continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Tomorrow's story is Bells. I'll tell you all about that. It's not what you expect. And then please, I'm going to ask you to tell all your friends about our show here at the RLC Broadcasting Network. They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And I promise you, I'll be glad you did.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.